Hi everyone, welcome back to Scrambled Eggs, a podcast you'll hear only if you're lucky enough.
Updating you on adulting topics every Friday.
I'm Zoe.
I'm Kingsley.
So today's topic is kind of controversial again because we're riding that trending boat or train.
We've been saying this for a few weeks already.
This topic, but this topic has been kind of a hot topic for quite a while because this is about TikTok, and TikTok has been really popular this past few years, and it's about the tictokfication of music. So basically how TikTok has altered the music industry, really. And a lot of us have actually seen a lot of musical artists rise to fame, like the new ones rising to fame, or like existing ones becoming even more famous because of TikTok. So this phenomenon has been really prominent in this digital age because TikTok is digital, like an app, and Facebook and everything else. But this is actually reshaping the landscape of the music industry. And because TikTok is features really short videos and people have really short attention spans, so it's become really popular with all this unique content and style as well. So a lot of artists has actually hopped onto TikTok to promote their own music or engage with their fans. And so TikTok has actually introduced artists to a global audience and also influencing the pop culture as well because there are so many users on TikTok. So today we'll be kind of delving into the TikTokification of music, the pros and cons of it, and kind of examining its impact on artist exposure and fan interaction and the music industry as a whole. So first of all, we would like to ask Kingsley what he feels about TikTok, or if he has come across some musical hits that has been because of TikTok. I know a lot of hits that were not really popular, but because its hook probably caught the eyes or ears of the audience of TikTok, and suddenly it just became massive. So do you have any idea or anything that caught your eye?
Personally, I don't use TikTok. So the only way that I get to know new music through TikTok was through Instagram or what's on the charts. Because nowadays when we look at especially the US chart, US Billboard 100, people will talk about how these tracks were popular on TikTok. And then I wouldn't say, I know TikTok is a thing now all over the world. A lot of people use it globally. But for some of the music industry like Hong Kong, Taiwan, I still haven't seen the impact of TikTok in these areas. Maybe in China it is, but maybe not in Hong Kong or Taiwan yet.
Maybe it's just not as prominent as how it has impacted the US or the UK.
Exactly. So I think I will just focus on my comments in the US market or the UK market or even K-pop. So, okay, I've known a few acts who were popular in many years ago, but then they became viral again because of TikTok. One of the most prominent answer is Meghan Trainor. Very recent run. So I know about Meghan Trainor back when I was 13. Wow.
All about that bass.
It's all about the bass. It's all I would say that era is the golden era of pop music, 2014. Because we've got music such as Dark Horse, Raw, Shake It Off, and then
1989,
everything, and then Meghan Trainor, loads of good pop music, just good vibes. But then I think Meghan Trainor kind of fade out in the public, not because she chose to, but more she wasn't quite up the trend. But then she came back saying that she was doing the same thing, doing the old her, by making this viral hit called, oh my god, I forgot the name.
Made You Look.
Oh yes, I made you look. Yeah, I think it when we talked about all about that bass, it was about the positivity, body empowerment, and then Made You Look kind of share the same idea, and then in the Gen Z, what we are looking for nowadays is the body positivity or the slave vibe we're talking about. So I think that's one of the reasons these songs became really popular, and then Meghan Trainor just blow up again. And then I do explore some new artists through TikTok as well. Not like through the app, but because they are famous on TikTok. One is called Matt Tai. I think I found him through the algorithm of YouTube, but I didn't know he was very famous on TikTok. Yeah, Matt Tai is a like bisexual artist, and then he made a lot of short clips of his songwriting process, and then he posted it on TikTok. I think it's kind of like how people want to feel relatable to these musical acts, or like, oh, what they're going through is what we've been going through as well. So that's how people resonate with the music acts nowadays on TikTok, and that's one of the reasons why they become really famous nowadays. Yeah.
For me, my personal experience with TikTok was I did not really care about TikTok until Taylor Swift made a TikTok. And so I made a TikTok account just to follow her TikTok account to see what Easter eggs I can find there or what she's hinting at. But I personally do not really watch a lot of TikToks, but I think nowadays that format, as in like the short form content format, is basically everywhere. Like you see it in Instagram, you see it on Facebook, you see it in YouTube Shorts. There's basically no escaping it.
Yeah.
So I would say TikTok has kind of infiltrated our lives in some way. And usually content creator, if they have already created a reel or if they already created like a short and that's the same format, they would just post it on every social media. So it's just TikTok but on different platforms. So I don't really go on the platform TikTok, but I would say my life has been infiltrated by TikTok. But I've listened to like a lot of tracks on like different reels or shorts, and it's basically just like around a 30-second clip of the reel of the original song, or maybe it's just 10 seconds of it. And I think sometimes it's just that hook that caught people's attention, or maybe that hook is good, but not necessarily the whole song is good. But because of this 10-second of popularity, it has actually propelled a lot of new artists or young artists onto charts, because the streams of the original song will skyrocket on like Spotify or Apple Music, either way. But sometimes I just think some music is really good, and there's also like a trend of bringing back older songs. Like I've heard like David Bowie, ABBA, which is nice. But some songs are, you can feel like people just want to hop on that trend of Gen Z, kind of like insecurity and things like that. And people want to make a TikTok about something like that, so they would use that audio. Yeah. But not necessarily that song is actually good. And I think that's my main problem with the TikTokification of music, because I always feel like music is kind of like an art form, and it's like the writing is an integral part of it. But now that TikTok, the promotion of TikTok and the kind of core idea of TikTok is short attention span. And so people are trying to write just like really catchy hooks, and the songs are maybe just like 2 minutes long. That's main people issue, don't really care about lyricism of the songs anymore. They just want to write something that, Gen Zs might say, like, oh, slay, or like it's giving something, or it's riz, like putting all these famous words into songs, but not necessarily making that song something meaningful. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's my main problem with TikTok. But like, if it's actually a good song, then I'm glad that it has like TikTok, this platform for it to reach its level of publicity and popularity.
Yeah, I think, let's be real, like if our attention span is just 30 seconds and then you need to catch people's attention in these 30 seconds, you need something really quick, catchy, just get to the point, straight to the point. But a lot of the time when we understand the background of an artist or understand the artistry of an artist, it wasn't just that 30 seconds, it's how they make the music, how they write the music, what they've been going through, or the artist loves to write an album. Like, have you ever listened to the album? Have you ever listened to their stories? People kind of just ignore all of these and then just go for the trend. Yeah, as what Zoe said, I can feel it about it, because I also make music, and people really just focus on like the 30 seconds or even like 10 seconds, and they're like, oh, this song is boring. It's just like a ballad, or like not so good. Okay, next one. And then they will forget about the music, forget about the track. Yeah.
I think like another part of bad side of TikTokification of music is that like while TikTok can generate viral hits, like the success is usually very temporary because like we hear this term a lot, like one hit wonder. Yeah. I think some people might say that about Meghan Trainor. I don't know. But because All About That Bass was so popular back then, and then although there are like tracks that Megan made that are also popular, like Lips Are Moving or Dear Future Husband, but it hasn't reached the level of popularity of All About That Bass, and people would consider that to be, and consider her to be a one-hit wonder until now. Made You Look came back because of TikTok. So we would say like TikTok can generate success for people because like if you have a 10-second catchy hook and that could propel you into stardom. But when you continue to make new songs or continue to make new music, if you can't continue to produce some 10-second hook or some maybe bridge or anything to capture the audience in a really short time period, then you will lose all that stardom immediately because people's attention span, like we mentioned, is really short. And if you don't actively try to capture them, then you will lose the audience and therefore you would lose your job maybe as a as an artist, and also potentially the future aspects of your career. So artists may actually struggle to maintain like a long-term career if they've actually achieved like a stardom from TikTok.
Okay, but I want to do justice for Meghan Trainor. So I wouldn't say...
Yeah, I actually don't know anything about Meghan Trainor, so I could just be like talking bad stuff about her, but please correct me.
I do understand like why you talk about that for Meghan Trainor, but I'm not saying like, oh, she's writing, she's okay to write about like a 10-second hook or anything like that. But I would say even back then when All About That Bass was a hit, and then she also got songs like Lips Are Moving, Dear Future Husband, or even later, her second album called Thank You, and then the lead single No, like My Name Is No, the sign is No, that one,
and then also, Me Too.
I still consider those music are very like
it's still a lot of streams, but it's not the same level.
It's not the same level, but they're still all right. But I totally just forgot like how Meghan Trainor just faded out in the public eye. But I did read some of the like analysis of how Meghan Trainor goes back to the stardom again with the comeback of Made You Look. So throughout these years when people didn't really hear from her, she actually took advice from her friend and started a TikTok account. And during the 2 or 3 years before the success of Made You Look, she actually has been posting TikTok content about like her interactions with her son, and then doing some dance moves, and then making like regular content on TikTok. It was like a steady and gradual rise on TikTok, but not like a sudden boost. So I would say maybe her implementing her new song like Made You Look in her TikToks, and then people sharing it, and then people doing the trends, and then people doing the dance. I do see like this is actually a marketing strategy, like but a very long run. It lasts for like 2 or 3 years from the start of her TikTok account to the success of Made You Look. But somehow it also doesn't really justify how people just focus on that 10 seconds of Made You Look and then ignore like all the efforts behind her putting effort in the TikTok account and then her music as well. I wouldn't say Meghan Trainor is a bad songwriter. She definitely knows how to write a song, how to write a commercial hit. But yeah, maybe it's just a trend or just the music industry that may took a bad look on her and saying, oh, she writes songs about TikTok. But I would say she has another song called Mother. That one is really like a TikTok thing.
Definitely TikTok.
Yeah, I wouldn't defend for that one. That one is really a TikTok thing. I wouldn't say Make You Look is a TikTok thing, but definitely Mother is a TikTok thing.
Yeah, I think that song got like a lot of criticism from a lot of people, especially when Kris Jenner was also involved in the music video and everything, and then I think another problem is that short of Meghan Trainor dancing to that song just appeared everywhere on YouTube. Like I try to scroll away, and then after 3 shorts, and then it appeared again, and then I click into the comment section, and people were commenting, why is this reel like appear in my feed for like 40 times?
People said like, I
yes,
paid for
same.
YouTube Premium and this is what I got. Like,
yes, exactly. But like what you said, it's part of her marketing strategy as well, and her trying to kind of extend the popularity of Made You Look and her album. I wouldn't say that people are disregarding all her efforts behind her gradual, steady content producing phase of her TikTok, because I think she also built a fan base from there, although it's not like a large fan base, but people who would like to watch that, like about her regular live, they're like true fans because they're there to stay and not because they just care about that one song that she made that had like a 10-second hook. So I would somehow say those fans that she has gained during her content, regularly posting content period, is more valuable than the Made You Look thing.
That's actually very true.
I think Made You Look is good, which is like it's propelled her stardom. A lot of people know about her. She might have a lot of new audiences, which is good, but also the audience that she gained from her content is also really valuable. I think another point about TikTok that me and Kingsley talked about the other day was that because everyone can make it like a TikTok account and start writing songs and start singing or start making content, like the threshold to enter music industry in this way is really low when compared to before, where you have to get a label or you have to capture some people's eyes or audience, like have a fan base before you can actually make a career out of music. And I think also in terms of revenue, when you are a content creator, you own that account, and the audience are actually following your account and not following, for example, like in the olden days, like the track label or things like that. So anything that you write or you sing is actually yours in that moment, I guess, at least till then. So you have the masters or things like that. I'm not too knowledgeable in this area. Maybe Kingsley can update you later on this. But I think the rise of TikTok is actually allowing more artists to become independent, so they don't have to just rely on a record label. As we can see, there are a lot of different battles between artists and record labels over their masters. I think this has prompted a lot of younger or newer artists to try and go independent, because at the end of the day, it's something that is close to their heart, it's something that they've made and something that belongs to them. It doesn't feel like it makes sense for it to become just merely commercial product to a record label. So I think TikTok in some sense has this kind of like a pro, but the oversaturation thing can also mean that there's a lot more competition that you have to fight over in order to capture people's attention. Like we said, people's attention is very short-lived, and that's why we see, apart from music, we see a lot of people doing like outrageous content, like blowing something up or doing really stupid stuff just to capture people's attention, and that's kind of like a bad thing on TikTok.
Okay, so let me explain like a brief comparison between the traditional way of promotion, or like getting a record deal, signing to a record label, compared to being an independent artist. So back in the days when independent artists weren't still a thing, kind of the only way that you can be popular or have the money to make and promote your music was signing a record deal. So for artists like Taylor Swift, or like even Billie Eilish or Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, they all signed to a record label. So what's the deal with the label is that you still own your copyright of your songwriting, particularly because you're the artist who write the songs. But the record label owns all the rights to your audio file. That's the master, because that's a way for them to keep on generating revenue, and they have the capital to invest in these artists or like new artists as well. So like when you are signed to a record deal, you got a lot of fundings to make your music, to promote your music. And then because everyone wants that record deal, there was some sort of like a standard in the music industry, just like what Zoe said. People back in the days may have like a really high standard to get a record deal. So it wasn't really common for everyone to be popular or to be a singer, an artist, a songwriter. But nowadays, it is really easy for you to promote yourself by just keep on making 30 seconds content and then resonating with the audience. And apparently we have a lot of tools that are pretty accessible. Just like we don't really need real instruments to make music anymore. I'm an independent artist as well. I make all my music using virtual instruments. I never use like a real one. I never know how to record a real instruments, but I can make my own music. People just post them online. One of the pros of being an independent artist is that they all own their masters. So they own the copyright of their songs, and then they own the audio file of their songs. That's the good thing, because you have full control of your artistry, your creativity. I think that's a good thing to make some of the artists who are not maybe as accessible as have the relationships with the music industry when they were trying to break in. But at the same time, I've seen a lot of outrageous artists who are trying to produce memes with the music, or trying to produce music that doesn't really make sense. I recently came across an artist explaining her song I want to make people move, I want to make people dance with my music, and then the lyrics is literally just clap 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 clap, bad bad that kind of lyrics. And I'm like, why you have all the resources to get to that point just because you're viral on TikTok? But there are actually many artists who are working really hard, and then maybe they're working multiple jobs just to get to just put their life together and just to maintain the basic needs of their lives, and then still have the passion to make music. I think it's also kind of unfair for someone who worked really hard on the songs, but some people doing some outrageous moves would get the attention and then enjoy all the resources. And recently I also came across this lyrics by the new single from Doja Cat called Attention, and there's a lyrics I really resonated with. Is people follow me on shows, but they don't care. They don't really care about my music. That line really hits me, because a lot of people have been saying, oh, Doja Cat, she started off with a meme. If some of you may know, she started off with a meme say it's a cow song. I forgot how to sing it, but do have you ever heard of that song?
I don't think I have.
Boo, and then I'm a cow. I'm a cow. I'm a cow. Never say meow. She started off with a song like that, and then she's shading all the vegans and then eating a burger in the video.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, she started off like that. Yes, and then people later will say that, oh, Doja Cat shaved her hair. She was really mentally unstable on live streams, and then she suddenly shaved her eyebrows or whatever. She later explained that was the period when she felt the most comfortable with herself. She felt really calm because she just wanted to make music. But all that people care about is how mentally unstable online, but not really listening to her music. I understand the meanings behind her songs. So that was really sad. But then there's also a very common nowadays on TikTok and in music industry. You just need attention. You just need you need to be the hot topics, but not making good arts and music. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a tricky one sometimes to navigate on TikTok or in this era, really, this digital age where people's attention is short-lived and everything is based on your online presence, and everything about you as an artist is judged by your online presence as well. So I think it's also quite tricky to navigate. But apart from all the cons and bad side of TikTok, I think TikTok, like we previously discussed, have also a lot of pros. It allows artists to increase their own exposure without a record label, allowing people to go more independent. And then its algorithm also allows a lot more songs or music to be seen, regardless of sometimes whether it's actually good or bad music. But it introduces a lot of new music to a lot of new audiences. So in the perspective of an artist, that's always a good thing. And then having viral hits can also, on TikTok and short form content, can actually lead to other streams or other virality as well. For example, on YouTube, or for example on Spotify, when people heard like 20 seconds of this hook, they might be curious as to how the original song, like the long version of the song, sounds like, and they might search on other streaming platforms to listen to your whole song. And that's how you gain extra exposure as well. I think the next point that I'm about to say is like kind of a less in chat about stuff between us today, and that's TikTok allows artists to interact with their fans and also maybe social media as well, because back in the days when there's no social media, the only way you can get to see your idol or singer is through like a concert or maybe like a meet and greet. But nowadays, through social media, I mean, it's not like you actually meet them in person, but you can engage with them maybe through comments, maybe through their live streams or different kind of ways as well. So in some sense, it's actually making you relate a bit more to the artists and connect more with the artists that you like. In some ways, I think that's also good for the fans. And in terms of the artists, it's actually increasing your likability or your intimacy with your fans, which is really valuable as well, which is a really valuable and important trait to have. The last point I have in my mind about the pros of TikTok is that it sets a lot of trends as well. And some trends are really horrible, like bad trends, and some are good, but something that we can't deny is that it sets some trends off. I've only seen like really bad stuff on different social media about how people are doing different challenges and end up getting hurt or even killed or injuring others. So I don't necessarily think it's a good thing, but I'm sure there are some good challenges somewhere that didn't get as much publicity. So I would categorize that as a pro as well. Do you think there are any more advantages that TikTok brings in terms of music or in terms of society as a whole?
I do really enjoy how people used TikTok to talk more about like the behind the scenes in the music industry. So I followed some of the K-pop producers. They are writing songs for all the girl groups or boy groups in K-pop, and they would just share the demos or like the behind the scenes in different agents in South Korea, and then how they interacted with all these labels and like mentioning about the success. And then it feels really relatable when you listen to the demos of the songs and how they envision different artists saying the music. It gives you a lot of, inspiration, as well as you appreciate the effort behind each song more than before, more than just listening to the song, admiring the idol, but never really care about the music. You know what I mean? And then I'm not necessarily a fan of Charlie Puth, but I would say this to my friend. This is a very Charlie Puth way of promoting music, is to make weird sounds and then turn them into a song.
Oh, light switch.
Yeah, and then you can hear a lot of demos or like how he produces songs through different TikToks and then through interactions with the audience. Like when the audience said like, oh, I love this sound, I love this beat that you made, I love this melody, and then he would be like, oh, maybe there's a potential behind this sound, behind this beat. Okay, I'll further investigate it and made it into a song.
Like giving the people what they want.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a way to interact. And then, when you listen to him playing let's say the bass and like vocalizing and then like playing the piano, the guitar, whatever, and doing the layers of vocals, this is actually really interesting because you've never seen a musical act doing this in front of you. All that you do is just listen to the final product. Or maybe they will make a long form video, just like Taylor once did it with her Reputation album. She did some behind the scenes video recording how she wrote the songs and how she sang in a vocal booth or whatever. But I think this way, like what Charlie Puth did, was more accessible. But personally, I still prefer the long form video ones, like how people really focus on the background stories or like everything behind the scenes or like what the artists feel about their music, instead of just like those 30 seconds you see online and they're like, oh, he's so funny, oh, he's really relatable or something. I've seen some K-pop agents, they are trying to show more of the behind the scenes through like a 30-minute video. It's basically just the singers singing in the vocal booth. Maybe that's a way to prove that they can sing to the audience. But I really enjoy it because you can see how they attempt like different vocal takes and then doing the harmonies and everything. I appreciate that more, honestly. And I really wish people just don't write music just because of the hook, but more about what you're trying to say. I love longer songs, to be honest. I don't like a 2-minute song. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. So after we've discussed so many like pros and cons from our perspective about like the TikTokification of music, how do you think it's going to impact the music industry in the future? Or how do you think it has already impacted the music industry? Is there a potential for it to continue to run in this format for the coming years and potentially people to create shorter and shorter songs where maybe in the future a song is 30 seconds? Or do you think there's going to be like a rebound where people are getting so tired of short-lived attention span content and then go back to the usual length of songs like 4 or 5 minutes, and then people are not going to write songs just based on a catchy hook for TikTok? Yeah.
I mean, apparently it already has an impact on the music industry, just like what we talked about, like how accessible the artist can be, and then all these short contents and hooks and catchy lyrics. But I would say TikTok would definitely come to an end. I'm just like, I'm not like saying this to like shade anyone, but I would say, because let's think about this. Like EDM was once really popular, and then Latin music was once really, really popular all over the world. But then, are they really the hot topics now? Not really. Like 10 years ago, EDM was a thing. We listened to Chainsmokers. I mean, definitely during that period, you grew a really strong fan base. I think nowadays a lot of people still listen to Chainsmokers or like different like Alan Walkers, like these EDM dance music acts, or like Kevin Harris. They are still like they really have like a strong fan base. But will it be like a global sensation now as much as like back in 8 or 10 years? Not really. So I would say TikTok, yeah, they're really popular now. Like these musical artists, and then like these short-term videos, hooks or whatever. But as we are like trying to stand out in this music industry, we're trying to push our creativity further. I would say there will always be potential to develop a new way of promoting music, the new form of arts, and then like a new trend as well. So maybe like in 3 or 4 years, TikTok will die. Like a new trend will be born, and then people will be obsessed with new things already. You wouldn't see Taylor making a TikTok 20 years ago, right? Or like 10 years ago. Like she wouldn't even know that was a thing. But what makes an artist...
She did start vlogging.
Wow, but she did vlog now. So
no. Maybe she did. Maybe it's for an upcoming documentary or something.
Yeah, maybe. But what I was trying to say is, like, what makes you stay with an artist is her story, her talents, her ability, and then you can see like she put a lot of effort in improving herself, proving herself and at themselves. I mean, and then you stay with her because you can really relate to her music, not because just of one hook or like a trend. I think that's also something I learned from like a recent, I came across this podcast and this, I would say, music producer. He's from Taiwan, but he's been working in the UK for a while. And then he had a lot of like experience in promoting music and then observing the algorithm and or something like that. And then that's kind of his summary of like how to be a successful artist in the long run. I wouldn't say TikTok is a bad thing. That definitely helps some of the artists to like gain popularity, gain publicity, and then just to get out there. But what's coming next is worth to discuss, investigate, and to work on.
I think most of the time, music, like once you discover a new artist and you like their songs, yes, and then most of the times people become long-term fans because they're the artist's personality. I think that's how people like stay loyal fans. Because even if you put out really good music, you might have a loyal fan base, but I think people get more attached to you as a person than your music. I think that like having both a personality and having good music is like the recipe for ultimate success, no matter if it's commercial or musical. But I think having a striking personality also helps you to gain a really loyal fan base. And therefore, if you just have overnight stardom from TikTok, and because of that just one hook, that might not ensure that you're going to have all those fans in like 10 years time, because you need to develop like a connection with the fans, but with the fans too, in order for them to gain a liking towards you, see you as a friend, and things like that. Also, like TikTok with fan interaction, I guess people are utilizing this. As for the TikTok 30-second or like 1 minute song, I don't really like that, and like, but that's just my personal preference. I can't wait for longer songs to be back, but then there are always trends, there are always new things, so we can't really speculate or just estimate what's gonna come. So I think we can just really wait and see. I don't really want to listen to 30-second songs. It's barely a song to me.
I think it's all about being creative and innovative in the music industry, because you never know what's the next trend is. So if you just like focus,
I think some people might argue, people utilizing Gen Z terms to make a song, to make it catchy, is kind of creative, which is true in some sense. But I think,
I don't think
not my cup of tea.
I don't think that defines an artist's personality, as you said. I didn't really realize this or like think about this, but personality is really something that every artist should work on. Like how you want your audience to have an impression of you. Just like when you look at Beyonce, people be like, oh, like black people in the queer community, that's where they belong. Or maybe like even people would say, oh, Carly Rae Jepsen, she just like One Hit Wonder, Call Me Maybe is like 10 years ago, whatever. But then you never know, she really has a really strong fan base, and most of them are queer community as well. Probably just a queer community. Thank you very much. At the end of the discussion. But I would say like personality really makes you have like a really dedicated and strong fan base, and that's how you keep your business rolling.
I think that kind of wraps up our episode today on the TikTokification of music. There are like definitely pros, definitely cons, but in my perspective, I think there's definitely more cons than pros, because I don't really want to be looking at the Mother song Shorts by Meghan Trainor 40 times on my YouTube
listen to me.
Shorts. So let us know what you think. Is TikTok great for music or bad for music, or are you neutral, or are you waiting for some trends to end or some trends to start? Let us know. And we'll see you in the next time, in the next episode.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.